Tyr's Sword. According to an ancient legend, Cheru's sword, which had been fashioned by the same dwarves, the sons of Ivald, who had also made Odin's spear, was held very sacred by his people, to whose care he had entrusted it, declaring that those who possessed it were sure to have the victory over their foes. But although carefully guarded in the temple, where it was hung so that it reflected the first beams of the morning sun, it suddenly and mysteriously disappeared one night. A Vala, druidess or prophetess, consulted by the priests, revealed that the Norns had decreed that whoever wielded it would conquer the world and come to his death by it. But, in spite of all entreaties, she refused to tell who had taken it, or where it might be found. Some time after this occurrence, a tall and dignified stranger came to Cologne, where Vitellius, the Roman prefect, was feasting, and called him away from his beloved dainties. In the presence of the Roman soldiery, he gave him the sword, telling him it would bring him glory and renown, and finally hailed him as emperor. The cry was taken up by the assembled legions, and Vitellius, without making any personal effort to secure the honor, found himself elected emperor of Rome. The new ruler, however, was so absorbed in indulging his taste for food and drink that he paid but little heed to the divine weapon. One day, while leisurely making his way towards Rome, he carelessly left it hanging in the antechamber of his pavilion. A German soldier seized this opportunity to substitute in its stead his own rusty blade, and the besotted emperor did not notice the exchange. When he arrived at Rome, he learned that the Eastern legions had named Vespasian emperor, and that he was even then on his way home to claim the throne. Searching for the sacred weapon to defend his rights, Vitellius now discovered the theft, and, overcome by superstitious fears, did not even attempt to fight. He crawled away into a dark corner of his palace, whence he was, ignominiously dragged by the enraged populace, to the foot of the Capitoline Hill. There the prophecy was duly fulfilled, for the German soldier, who had joined the opposite faction, coming along at that moment, cut off Vitellius's head with the sacred sword. The German soldier now changed from one legion to another, and traveled over many lands. But wherever he and his sword were found, victory was assured. After winning great honor and distinction, this man, having grown old, retired from active service to the banks of the Danube, where he secretly buried his treasured weapon, building his hut over its resting place to guard it as long as he might live. When he lay on his deathbed, he was implored to reveal where he had hidden it, but he persistently refused to do so, saying that it would only be found by the man who was destined to conquer the world, but that he would not be able to escape the curse. Years passed by, wave after wave, the tide of barbarian invasion swept over that part of the country, and last of all came the terrible Huns, under the leadership of Attila, the scourge of God. As he passed along the river, he saw a peasant mournfully examining his cow's foot, which had been wounded by some sharp instrument hidden in the long grass. And when search was made, the point of a buried sword was found sticking out of the soil. Attila, seeing the beautiful workmanship and the fine state of preservation of this weapon, immediately exclaimed that it was Cheru's sword, and, brandishing it above his head, he announced that he would conquer the world. Battle after battle was fought by the Huns, who, according to the saga, were everywhere victorious, until Attila, weary of warfare, settled down in Hungary, taking to wife the beautiful Burgundian princess, Ildicio, whose father he had slain. This princess, resenting the murder of her kin and wishing to avenge it, took advantage of the king's state of intoxication upon his wedding night to secure possession of the divine sword, with which she slew him in his bed, once more fulfilling the prophecy uttered so many years before. The magic sword again disappeared for a long time, to be unearthed once more for the last time by the Duke of Alva, Charles V's general, who shortly after won the victory of Muhlenberg in 1547. The Franks were wont to celebrate yearly martial games in honor of the sword, but it is said that when the heathen gods were renounced in favor of Christianity, the priests transferred many of their attributes to the saints, and that this sword became the property of the archangel Saint Michael, who has wielded it ever since. Tyr, whose name was synonymous with bravery and wisdom, was also considered by the ancient northern people to have the white-armed Valkyries, Odin's attendants, at his command, and they thought it was he who designated the warriors whom they should transfer to Valhalla to aid the gods on the last day. The god Tyr sent Gondal and Skogul to choose a king of the race of Ingiv to dwell with Odin in roomy Valhall. Norse Mythology by R.B. Anderson. So that was Tyr's Sword, the second section of Chapter 5 of Myths of the Norsemen by Helene A Guerber, Tyr. I will be working my way through this book section by section, and if there are any other public domain books that you would like for me to read, please leave a comment below. Did you enjoy this video? Then subscribe for more, and be sure to check me out on Facebook and Patreon. Thank you for listening, and have a lovely evening.